Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another great session with Wendy Lunt, going over Google Business and the updates that have happened. And you're going to be going over building your online resume. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right. Well, I will let you take it away.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you so much. It's great to be back at John L. Scott Kent. I'm super excited to share this with you today. Eric and I did a little exchange of what's going on, and there have been a lot of updates and changes, not only on Google, but also the way consumers are behaving on search and what they're using it for. So we thought this would be a great time to do truly an update. So just a reminder who I am. How did I get here? I'm Wendy Lunt. I'm with My Home, which is the sister company you might recognize. WFG National Title is my sister company. And the CEO and founder of both of our companies decided that there was a really big opportunity to help real estate brokers with their marketing and the technology that powers it. And that's how My Home became a company. So I focus just on broker marketing technology. We're going to be doing a couple of classes together. My next one I'm excited to share with you will be something that I've created just for real estate marketing. But today we're going to focus on the largest search engine in the world, Google. Why are we going to focus on Google? Well, we're going to kind of start talking a little bit, but my mindset for today is this. We understand, we as marketing tech directors understand that you engage in listing activities, buyer activities, and you are getting interviewed daily, and sometimes you don't even know it. So as Eric mentioned the word resume, I want you to start thinking about, Google as being your up-to-date, visible, always available resume for every interview that you're on. So when a buyer or a seller is referred to you, we know they Google you. When a neighbor in a neighborhood sees your listing sign or your pending sold sign, and they're maybe thinking about, should I sell? What's my house worth? Well, they're going to start by Googling you. And when you appear in someone's social media feed and you are intriguing and interesting, and they're in that transactional mindset, they're going to leave social media and they're going to, you could probably say it with me, they're going to Google you. And the last would be this. When someone, we'll call them consumers, people, is in a transactional mindset, thinking about buying, thinking about selling, getting their house ready, maybe even investing in real estate, they're going to find you on Google because that is where they start their query. And they ask Google questions like, how to get my house ready to sell, how to get the most money for my home, how to choose a great real estate agent, etc. So knowing that Google business profile, the thing that you have, which we're going to be talking about today, is your resume. And then on there, right below your picture, are your reviews. Let's start calling those your references. I'd like to offer a marketing lab that's going to help you make a remarkable impression in every interview scenario you have. So what are you going to expect from our time together today? I want to help you understand how Google interacts with your ideal audience, those people that are in search mode. And I'd like to give you a guided tour of the Google Business Profile for real estate agents, specifically how yours should be set up and functioning and how you interact with it. And I want to help you convert it into a powerful resume and reference strategy. I'm going to offer you tips. I'm going to offer you updates along the way. And ideally, you should note what you are missing and how you want to enhance it. If you've taken a class from me before, I always give you a downloadable guide at the end. This time, I will definitely not disappoint. I have quite a bit in there. So what I would love for you, if you are a note taker, this would be a time where you take notes when something really resonates with you that you want to apply. Knowing that there's a lot that I'm going to be sharing with you at the end, because as a client of WFG and of My Home, all of you are welcome to use my downloadable into the future. So let's get started. I know that there's been a bit of buzz in the news. We won't discuss it too much, but we are experiencing on a national level that consumers are more aware of, let's just call it value that a real estate broker brings more than they've ever thought about it. And this is not a conversation today about what's happening. What I want our time together to be is a conversation about how you can proactively show up at each of these interview moments and display a powerful resume that really enhances and showcases your brand authority and the value that you offer those people who are searching you. So we're going to go ahead and get started with a couple of slides because I know how powerful images can be. So Eric, I'm going to share my screen. Am I allowed to do so? Okay, good. So let's just, I've got to find the correct one. It's not giving me the name of my Windows. 1 second. That's there we go. I got oh, Eric, I bought that new 34-inch curved screen that you inspired me to buy. So still figuring a few things out. All right.
Yep, those are great.
I love it. I love it. So with everything that was going on in the news earlier this year and understanding that a lot of things change, I started working on languaging, positioning, brand authority, and creating a catalog of a way that a real estate agent can show their value. And when I was doing that, something hit me. And I have those, I pay attention to those flashes, those moments. And it hit me that when interviewing for a new position, if you've ever interviewed for a job in the past, I know when I turned 16, I really wanted to work at McDonald's. I don't know why, it just seemed like the thing to do back then. And I had to put together a resume. And so the two things that you need when you want to interview for a job, for a position, is you need an up-to-date resume and you need a list of references. And that is how people make that hiring decision if you are the right person for them for what they want. So here it is, Google Business. I really want to hit this home for you. It's your resume. All the reviews that you have or you're going to get, those are your references. And hang on, it's not forwarding. Go ahead, forward. There we go. A resume is this. So I want you to think right now, and if this is a note you want to take, it is a curation. It's a bringing together of your work experience. So what have you done? Homes you've sold. The authority that you hold in the marketplace. That's the knowledge that you can display. That is client facing. And the skills that you bring, which showcase that you're qualified to be their real estate agent. That's how you secure, in air quotes, the job. So let's talk about those references first. Who qualifies to be a reference? People who can vouch for your skills, your work ethic, your value, your character. They confirm the accuracy of the information in your resume. That's what those referrals and those references are, which are your reviews. And it sets you apart from other candidates that they're interviewing to help them buy or sell. This is what builds out ultimately your resume. So I want to talk about two things first, and they go well hand in hand together, which is human psychology, the way that we approach things, understand the world around us, and the algorithm, the machine behind Google that makes decisions of what shows up. So Google's been studying consumer behavior as much as, if not more than, Harvard and Cornell and Bright Local, all the different consumer behavior studies that are out there. And they are adjusting what they show to the consumer based on the behavior. I want you to think of this. Human psychology and Google's algorithm are more together today than they ever have been. Everything from Google watching where our eyes go, how long we stay in a different position, what we're engaging with, what we're ignoring, all of that really comes together. And this is how you can connect with the audience that is looking for you. These Google updates we're going to be talking about shortly are going to be a big part of that. The Google algorithm updates are a direct result of the consumer behavior and what they are looking for and the mindset they're in. So don't think of them as disconnected. I really want you to start thinking of human behavior and the algorithm as being in sync. So I want to share with you, you don't have to keep stats on this, but I think if you know where we've come from and where we're going, what I'm going to share next will make a lot of sense. So November 2023, I went back in time a little bit. Up until this year, January 2024, there have been 8 review updates actually since April of 2021. Google has actually confirmed, and they don't usually tell us what they're doing. We have to discover it through activity. They've confirmed that they will continue to use real-time updates and reviews to showcase which local businesses get shown the most. So what does that mean for you? I want to put it in our terms. Changes to your rankings, how you show up on Google, for better or worse, may be reflected with this review system in more real time than it has been in batches. So getting more reviews consistently is going to be important. So not big bursts of reviews on your page, but consistent. Think of it more like a river flowing, a river of reviews versus a waterfall. I hope that was a good visual for you. I just thought of that. I think that makes a lot of sense. So the key focus of this update is to prioritize reviews that provide in-depth research and real-life experiences. Google has released multiple updates. They're going to continue to do that, and they're consistently tweaking this, but they have been showing us since 2021 that reviews play a big part in how you show up. Let's talk about something that I think you're going to ask me. I know you're going to ask me this is, what about those third-party review aggregators that we can have go get us reviews everywhere and then post them for us? Google is depreciating, like downgrading the use of anything that has a Google API, a connection to Google reviews. Google's also allowing reviews from third-party surveys, but they have told us, they are showing us that they are going to start downgrading and not allowing them. So if you have hired someone like Rate My Agent, where they collect reviews for you, and then they say they'll post them on Google, Google's actually going to discredit those, and they've even announced that they're going to begin to discount them in a way that it's going to make it less valuable for you to use third-party aggregators. So what does that mean? Ultimately, getting reviews directly from your clients and your vendors onto Google is what you need to do. So it's been coming. Eric, do you have a question on that?
I do. I know there's a lot of TCs that use those third-party platforms for those APIs. So that might be something to maybe ask your transaction coordinators.
Yes, it was working for a while, but Google is really clamping down on what they call false or fake reviews. And so when something is coming from a third party, it gets red flagged as a false review. And so they want consumer to Google link, boop. That's what they want. They want that direct connect, not somebody in between gating them and making it less authentic. And that's pretty recent that we learned that. They announced that in January of 2024, that they're going to start downgrading and eventually getting rid of third parties that have an API, a direct connection to Google to put the review on for the client. So maybe we just learned something that was super valuable right there. There's another update that I want to share with you. It's called the Openness Local Search Update. And Google actually confirmed that openness, whether a business is currently open, their hours of operation, or if it's closed, became a stronger signal for non-navigational queries. So when someone is searching not for your name, but real estate related information, getting my house ready to sell, what's the best time to sell, that type of stuff. If you have that on your Google profile, but you set your hours of operation from 9 to 5, and it's 5:30 p.m., it's not going to show your Google profile as a local business. So what does this mean? Because Google started ranking openness more often in its local search rankings higher than businesses that are closed, we want to make sure our hours of operation are set for when your consumer is on search asking real estate related questions. So if most of your clients work, we'll call them banker's hours, 9 to 5, ideally you want your hours of operation to be in the morning before they go to work and into the evening and definitely into the weekends. So that usually it makes people say, well, what about, I'll just make it 24 hours. Let me fix that. Google actually put into this openness update, it recommends against 24 hours as that may have a negative effect if you're unable to respond to consumers during your 24 business hours. So it also makes you appear to be more of an online versus a local business. So if you would like my opinion, I would say your hours of operation should be the hours that you would take and return phone calls. That would be great. Maybe you say, well, I'm an early riser. I start taking calls at 7 a.m., but I go to bed at 10. So I'm going to stop my calls at 9 p.m. Those would be your hours of operation. So anytime that you would and could respond to someone inquiring on your business page, that's ideal. Kind of sounds like common sense, but at the same time, it's good to really get that straight. So if you're going to make that change, that's something for you. I do want to share this other update that I thought was really interesting. It's called the spam update. So scaled content that can be found across many Google business profiles that's been created by the same entity, that's considered spam. So think about how AI has affected everyone's ability to produce more content. Google wants to make sure that content that is real and authentic and on brand. So what does this mean for you? With this update, it evens the playing field and requires businesses to share relevant, unique content to stay on top of search. What's unique to you? Your listings, your open houses, your point of view on content. Here's something really notable I want to make sure you understand. When you repurpose content from other sites, like Keeping Current Matters, does that one sound familiar to you? I know that's one that's really highly used. That, if you just take that and paste it as your content, is likely going to fall into this spam category. I'm going to just kind of pause for a minute. If you are taking Keeping Current Matters or NerdWallet or something from your brokerage and you're just copy, boop, pasting and putting that out as your own, it's going to downgrade you on search. So ideally, you want to use this type of content more to inspire your ideas of what you want to say and share it from your point of view rather than just repurposing and reusing. Another one that you should make note of, if you're using homes.com and they are posting on your Google profile for you, I recommend against it. They're posting the exact same post across the nation on all the hundreds of thousands of real estate brokers that are taking their free service. It's actually not optimal at all. Oop, I think I just skipped ahead. Oh yeah, spam update. Okay, good. Mobile. Here's another notable detail. When you do create this extra content, if you're going to use AI and you're going to put it out there as your own, change 20% of it. So I will continue on. Helpful content update. This is really good. This one, this algorithm was launched in August of 2022 originally to better promote high quality, people first content, what people are searching for. And then in 2024, March, they updated again. It aims to make sure that what you're putting out there, people really want. So posting and adding content to Google is not about quantity. It's about relevancy and quality. So it's about giving your opinion. Tell us about what did the interest rates, what does that do for your buyers and sellers? Tell us about your value and why that's important, rather than just repurposing what everybody else has. So I think that kind of makes sense. Do come on to audio if you have questions. I'm trying to get it's not forwarding. 1 second. There we go. So what does this spam update do? I think it really raises the bar. I think it's what separates you from the masses because you have real estate knowledge and authority and you have opinions about what's going on. And when you share that, it really makes you stand out. So keeping that in mind, I think it's important that you take that moment to give your opinion and put your true value into what you have that's out there. So I'm going to stop my share for a quick second. I'm going to be sharing that downloadable shortly. But what I want to do, and I know that you've come and you're ready to really take action now. Now I definitely want to go into the live version of what we're going to talk about, which is your Google Business Profile. So taking into thought, again, keep this in mind, resume, references. This is where we're going to go in. I'm going to show you some things that you can set and forget, do it once, and it works for you. And then I'm going to show you a section of things that you would do on Google that you're going to want to do on an ongoing basis. So some crock pot marketing, set and forget, and then some weekly exercises. That's where we're going right now. All right, I'm going to share my screen. I appreciate, again, let me know if you do have a question. I might answer it along the way, so don't be surprised if you have a question in mind and then it comes up. But let's start with some of the set and forget. By the way, what I'm sharing right now, hang on, I'm going to close my door. My dog's about to go off. I don't know if anybody else has a dog alarm, but I have one, a little mini Australian. She's very vocal when people come to our house. So the first set and forget is something that's going to work into perpetuity for you, and it's going to be what we call completing your profile. So here's the story behind Google. By the way, this is my testing page. This is not a real estate company. This is the one I use where I can put content in. What I want you to do, and I'm going to give all this to you as a handout later, you're going to want to check what your profile strength is. And your profile is completing the information, your website, adding your office address, adding your phone number, putting in who you are. This is called your business description. Mine is clearly a fictitious real estate company, but putting all of the content in and getting that built out once is extremely important. Why does it say that it is incomplete? I will touch on that in just a moment, but completing means optimized. So adding all of your hours of operation, adding your attributes, etc. So where do you go for that? When you are on your Google profile, you'll click to where it says edit profile. This is your core information. I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. So this is a warning label. Do not change everything in here at once. If you have to make an update in this edit profile section, I recommend doing one thing, then letting Google learn about it, index it for a few days, and then making another change. If you change 2 or 3 things at once, like your address and your website, or your name and your category, Google will flag that, suspend your account, then you'll get a hold of me or Gina, and we'll have to meet up with you and get you out of that spaghetti mess. So if you're going to make any changes in here or updates, I recommend one at a time, give it a couple days and then come back. So in your contact information allows you to say what categories you are, add your description of who you are, your opening date. If you've been in the business for more than a couple of years, I do recommend adding that. It gives your business legacy. Your phone number is vital. Your website's vital. If you haven't engaged with this yet, you can add your social profiles that you're actively putting real estate content on. So that might be Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. Your location should be your office address, not a home address, not a PO box. I will offer this. If you have a question about this at the end, I will address specific questions. But for now, we're going to move quickly for those of you that are just kind of learning this for the first time. Your service areas should be the areas that you generally serve. So not, I will go anywhere for anyone, but think of it like an electrician. Maybe you serve certain counties or cities. You definitely want to fill that out. Again, your hours of operation, more from the business. This section right here, if you haven't taken a moment, click through it, and I'm going to make a recommendation. Do not click on no for the ones that are not true. Only click on yes for the ones that are true. So this is how sometimes people will search on Google and they'll want to know what type of business it is your office handicapped, accessible, etc. So you can go through each of these amenities, crowd, parking, planning, etc., and open them up and you can add. So for this section, this will be considered one update. So the entire section, you can make all of these updates in one day and save. So by the way, this is new. Eric, I don't know if you've seen this, but they recently added the different languages. So I recommend if you speak more than one language, going through and adding the languages that you do speak. And one of them is even sign language. So if you speak sign language, where did it go? There we go, American Sign Language. You can also add that. So keep this in mind. This is your profile, update one main thing, wait a couple of days, go back and update the others. That is a set and forget. You shouldn't have to go back to that on a regular basis. The second area that is a set and forget is what we call services. And services replace adding geotags and metadata to your photos. Google's gotten rid of that. So if you've still been adding geotags and metadata to your photos, I give you permission to stop doing that. It's now a waste of time. Google scrapes that off. What they did in response to that is they asked for us as businesses to add and describe the services that you offer your clients. So what does that mean? When you first go in and sign up, it asks you what services you offer. These should be your primary services, such as buying agent services. You work with buyers. When you add these services and you click it open and add the description, this is full of keywords, which are phrases that that buyer is searching for. This is how Google decides if it's going to show your business profile or someone else's. So taking 20 or 30 minutes to go through and describe each of these would be absolutely essential for you. Now, I put in a little prompt here, so you don't need to put capitals in yours, but next time we meet, I'm going to be sharing a prompt engine that I created that has all of the pre-created prompts for Google that are full of SEO and keywords, etc. So if you want to wait to do this until our next meeting, I will tell you I've got a huge shortcut for you. So services, answer all of these, update all of them, do it once, it works for you. Do I have any questions at this point? I want to make sure that I'm not missing it. I've got a few more things I want to share yet. Anything? Anyone? We're good? We're good. Yes? No? Yes. We're good. Okay. So those are 2 sets and forgets. Get your profile set up, get your edit your services, add all of those. I have a third one. So if you're like crock-pot marketing, where you set it and it works for you into perpetuity, you're going to love this one as well. It's right smack dab in the middle of your editing console. It's called Q&A. Now, I want you to think of this as the questions that your ideal clients would normally ask. And if your clients are buyers and sellers, I recommend pick 5 seller questions that are the most commonly asked questions, 5 buyer questions, add those as Q&A, and let those work for you. Those are a part of keywords in search that Google says, if your business is taking the time to do Q&A, it's going to reward you by showing you to more clients. So Q&A on your actual Google profile shows up down below your product section. And anyone can ask a question. And by the way, anyone that sees the question can answer it. So I do recommend if you get a question, you answer it, because it will be answered for you if you don't. But the way that you can check it out is I'll show you all of the questions that are on this profile. So what's the right price for my home? Okay, that's a common question. How do I price my house right? Then the answer shows who answered it. So J-Man Realty answered it. Do you notice, though, that it doesn't say who asked it? That's the key. You can go in and create your own questions and then immediately answer them. And I have a prompt for that as well. So if you want to do some of that set and forget, it's super simple. You actually create the question and then go in and answer it. That is a powerful set and forget for you as well. Now I want to go into some activities. So we're done with Crock-Pot. Now we're going to go into, you got that gym membership. You've got to go to the gym and do some exercises. I'm all about analogies. I do believe that I do know that activity on Google creates your opportunities. I have clients that I work with that do this. I have one, I'm going to give you a scenario. I have one client based in the Auburn, Puyallup, or Lake Tapps area. And he shared with me 2 weeks ago that prior to working on Google, his business was primarily referrals. But then we got into this spin cycle of what we're in, and he really started working and has been doing these activities that I'm telling you about, that I'm going to tell you about right now. And he said 70% of his business now is incoming clients through his Google page, and 30% is referral. So you can take what I say and forget it, or you can apply it. But if you apply it, I ask that you come back to me because I love to learn through what you do. So if you do these things, I would love to hear about, I just got a listing. I just got 2 listings. I just got a referral from a Florida real estate broker. I just got 3 buyers. I want to hear that. That's what I'm asking for. You're not paying for this class. Please pay me back with your feedback on how it works out. So let's go to my first one. And this is going to take care of this little unfinished profile circle. Once a week, go to your Google business profile, either on your desktop or through your Google Maps app, which is on your phone, and clear your cards. What does that mean? These look like playing cards to me. These are suggestions from Google. It wants to know if you are being active, and it's giving you, hey, you should do this because this is what we'll reward you for. Or, hey, do this because we want you to do something for us, right? So here's what it is. Unlock insights at no cost. I can set up Google Analytics. So I can either do it, or I can at least acknowledge by clicking on the 3 little vertical dots, the ellipses, and say dismiss. I could take its advice and add my social profiles, or I could just say dismiss. So as you can see, this activity, just, claiming your credit, it will offer you money for advertising all the time. So don't worry about it. Just go ahead and say dismiss. And once I get to the end, you're going to see something very interesting. And I left a lot of these up so I could show you more than I thought I had. This is a fake website. So obviously there we go, and dismiss. You want to get the gold ribbon. When you see the gold ribbon, you've accomplished your clearing of the cards for the week. Let me show you something. I'm going to hit refresh. 9 times out of 10, yep. Now my profile strength, it's giving me the green circle. So if that is all you do once a week, that is going to help your ranking. Oh, look at it, already gave me another one. Dismiss. That's what you want to do. So here's a pro tip. On your cell phone, and I have this at the end of my handout as well, you have Google Maps app. Everyone does, unless you deleted it. If you click open your Google Maps app, as long as you're signed into Google on your phone, which most people are, on the bottom right-hand side, it says business. If you click on business, it goes to your Google business profile. You can do these activities while you're out in the field. So that's pro tip number 1. Let's go to the next one. So as far as the do something every week, I want to relate this to the behaviors that you already do in real estate. So what do I mean by that? You go on listing appointments and get listings, and you also have open houses. You also work with buyers. You have success stories. You have transformation stories. So here's a couple of places you can go. Number 1 is going to be what I call timeless information. Timeless means it lasts into an eternity. It's going to work for you going into the future. The section I'm talking about is your products. So products are displayed on the left-hand side in your console. This is where you can edit or add products. Additionally, I want to show you where they show up. They show up down here, but I've noticed on some Google profiles, they're starting to move them up higher. When Google moves things around, it's doing that because of the way consumers are searching. But let me show you what it looks like, and then I'll briefly show you where you add them. So I'm going to click one of these open. And again, this is a fake real estate business. So for example, you can see that you can actually, whoops, go down, there we go. See some information. This is the article that you would write. I don't want to attract anybody, so I'm not attracting anyone, but this would be where you would put your new listings. There's an entire quick process for it, but basically you can add up to 10 photos or a 30-second video. I have this in my downloadable, by the way. Then you're going to add where your new property for sale is. Don't say new listing, by the way, that's inside real estate language. Please, instead of that, use consumer language, new homes for sale near me, new homes, Battleground, Washington, new homes, Kent, Washington, etc. Add your marketing remarks and maybe expand them a little bit, and then tell them what to do next. By the way, this is the most underused marketing strategy. We all tell people what we want to tell them, but then we forget to say, oh, and do this next, click here to learn more, or call to see this home. So you definitely want to go through and create content that someone can really consume, and it's going to look more like an article, a blog article, which is content marketing, than it's going to look like an ad. But it acts like an ad. It attracts, and brings people to you. So how do you do updates? Updates, I'm going to go up to the top here, are simply clicking into this add update. And here is my do it once a week, go to the gym, make your muscles work. Once a week, minimum, add an update. Eric, what day of the week is the best day of the week to put listings on to get in front of that buyer seller pool? I'm curious what you would say today.
Thursdays.
Love it. That's what I would say too. So on Thursdays, if you're putting your listings in, what about if on Friday morning your activity was, now I'm going to go and I'm going to tell everybody about that listing, right? Because that's when people are like, we want to get you to the top of search. Every time you do an activity, you're going up the ladder past your competition. I want to be at the top of the ladder when people are like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, thinking about, looking at, asking questions about real estate. So here's what you do. There's 3 types of updates. This is in my handout, so I'm going to go fairly quick. One update is this style of update is anything that is timely. It's happening now. So timely would be a new listing, interest rates information, a seller success story, a buyer success story, something related to real estate. This is not, hey, there's a dog fair in Kent. Unless you're selling dogs, I would say keep it real estate and somewhat community when it's related to real estate. There's a new project going up. There's new infrastructure that's happening that's going to help homeowners get to their houses more often. That type of content is relevant to real estate. Secondly, there's 3 things you have to do. You upload a photo or 10 photos or a 30-second video. So if you have a new listing, maybe the new tip is tell your videographer after they do the video, you want a 30-second, like kind of like teaser reel that you could put on Google that would lead somebody to want to see that property. Then you add your description. So tell them about the property or tell them about what you want to tell them about interest rates, and always add a call to action. And lastly, always add what they should do next. So should they call now or they should go to your learn more? And if you're doing market updates, I know you are because I know Lennox is big on statistics and numbers. You can actually have them sign up to get market updates on a regular basis. So you have choices here. That would be great. Second kind would be add an offer. If you want to add an offer, find out what your Auburn home is worth. Find out what your insert area or insert neighborhood name. You can actually put an offer in here and you can have a start and end date. Here's a pro tip. You can run this for 364 days if you want. So this will stay at the top of search for a year. Ah, I like it, Eric. Thank you. Nonverbal communication is fantastic. And then the third type is an event. So here's your timely thing. Open house. Would you like to mark your open house on Google Maps and on the biggest search engine, Google? Do it here. Do it in advance. As soon as you know you're going to have that open house, it will stay on Google Maps for that consumer. Gina's driving down the road and she puts in open house near me and you show up. This is what you want. So that's a once a week, put something timely out there relevant to your business. Second thing that you can do that's going to be those exercises is you can add photos. Photos are a representation of the type of marketing you do. High quality, high definition images. These images should not have text over them. You cannot put logos over them anymore. And let me show you why. Google, if you haven't seen recently, they have updated where they're taking your logo and superimposing it on every single image. If you add a logo to your image or a watermark or your phone number, email address, website, it will downgrade you and hurt your rankings. Don't do it. Here's my thought for you. This is not social media. Don't put a postcard on here. Don't put a flyer on here. And don't put any gifts, any stickers, etc. over it. Keep these as high quality, well lit product images, which are pictures of homes, or people images would be lifestyle photos of you or you working with clients. Keep it to that. Don't turn this into Instagram or Facebook. Eric, you have a question.
I do. Is that also for video? Same rules apply?
For video, if you have a video that you have your logo over it, we aren't seeing it hurting anything, but ideally it would be an unbranded video because it's going to throw your logo on it.
Sure. Okay.
Yes. I kind of think of it like the MLS version and then your branded version. This would be the MLS version. Also, those videos, they play in Google Maps. Because you asked that question, I'm going to give you a little extra. If you could create a 30-second value reel and put it on here, it will play on Google Maps for you. Kind of cool. So where do you upload them? Not here. Don't let Google trick you. I recommend you come over to your console, go to your profile, and this is where you add your images. So if you want to change your cover image, you do it here. If you want to change your logo image, you do it here. I recommend your logo image is we call them a bug or an alt mark. It's not going to be like the full, long rectangular. It should be like the image part of your logo because it's going to be so small. We want it recognizable on those images. And then everything else, you're going to click where it says add photos. And here is my tip for once a week. Drag and drop 10 pictures from past or current listings. River, not waterfall. Don't go take every house you ever listed and upload 1,000 images and then think, whew, I am done for the year. That actually hurts you. It's a spike, and in 7 days, you'll drop to the bottom like a rock. So take 5 or 10. If you don't have a lot of past listings, 5 photos a week. If you have plenty, 10, and it just creates a beautiful catalog of your work.
Another question.
Yeah.
Doing great. The videos, should those be shot in landscape or portrait? Do you know? Because I know when you tell a videographer you're shooting reels, most of the time they're going to be, oh, here's the portrait mode. But I'm pretty sure, doesn't Google want landscape? Is that still the case?
Okay, so here's where we go to eyeballs. Where are you being seen the most? So I'm going to go, because you asked, Eric, I'm going to click here where it says consumer interactions. I'm going to answer this question with some information. So when I go to here, I can scroll to the bottom and you see this circle. 54% of my clients, these fake clients are finding me on desktop, 31% on mobile. If they're on maps, 17% are on mobile and 6% are on desktop. So I would probably do for mine, I would probably do landscape. If your circle is flipped and you have more people searching and finding you on mobile, because that's your audience, do them horizontal. I mean, do them vertical. So Google now accepts both and will play both. So depending on your audience, that's the direction it would go. You could also play with it if you're like, I'm 50-50, well, then do A/B testing, put some up of each style, but there is no wrong way at this point.
Okay,
Google.
McKenna's got a question for you too.
What's that?
McKenna's got a question for you too.
Oh, go ahead, McKenna.
So for changing things in your Google profile as a whole, is changing like photos and your updates different from changing like your actual profile information? Because you said like, don't change too many things at once, which it'll flag you. So is doing the updates or the products, or I mean, not products, or photos going to affect that, or is that separate?
Awesome question. I'll bet there is a whole bunch of people thinking the same thing. This edit profile section, do one thing at a time. That's editing. Adding, you can do as much as you want, as long as it doesn't seem like a robot's doing it. So I did have one client that thought they would build out their entire Google profile in one day and added like 100 pictures and added 17 updates and added all of a sudden they got flagged. So this would be better like increments of say 20 or 30 minutes once a week versus spending 8 hours building the whole thing out. Really great question, by the way. Thank you for asking that. Okay, continue. All right. So you're going to once a week clear your cards. At least once a week, you're going to update and add some photos. And at least once a week, you're going to add an update. So those are your to-dos for working your business. I want to show you when that is a combination of get it done plus continue to add. So please don't get confused. I do have this on my handout. This section right here, the products and categories, this is your resume. This is where people can learn about your brand authority, what you have to offer, who your clients are. Google uses this and the consumer uses this. The referrals, the people who see your sign, the people who get your postcards, or the people who discover you as a result of Google. This is where you put together your resume. So I'm going to make, this is in my handout, but I want to make this very clear. These 4 buttons, if you have more than 4 categories, Google decides what it shows. So if you want to control the narrative, create 4 categories that your information fit into. My recommendations are clear, not creative. If I'm a seller, I want to know this is where I go. If I'm a buyer, I know this is where I go. If I want to see, hey, is Eric successful? I'm going to go check out all the homes he sold. Do they look like the house I have? Are they in the areas that I live? How many has he sold? What kind of prices does he get? I'd put those here. And the 4th one is dealer's choice. I use area guides because I know a lot of consumers search by neighborhood and community, and I can get found on Google for being an expert in those areas. So these categories you choose, and then your content is going to go into here. So category is basically like door number 1, I'm a seller, I'm going to go here and learn everything I want. These are sales funnels. If you know what a sales funnel is, somebody comes in at the top of the funnel, they learn a little bit more, they still like you, they learn a little bit more, now they see you as an advisor, and they finally click to call or go to your website and hire you. So top of funnel, if I'm a seller and I want to know what other houses did Eric sell, I'm going to click on homes sold, and I'm going to see some evidence of success. Ideally, Eric, you've sold more than 4. So yeah. So this isn't a whole strategy, but basically, because mobile exists, we want to add the city and state to it as a banner, because this will disappear when you're on mobile. But when I click each one of these open, they're very straightforward. A picture of the home, the area that I sold, the type of house that it is, what I sold it for, a great call to action. And what I don't have here is my call to action button. It's because I don't want to sell anybody's house, but you would add the learn more, and it would come back to your website and they could learn more about you. So if you're thinking about it, sellers, what do they want to know? They want to get some home staging tips. They want to get your home seller's guide. They want to know what's my house worth, etc. I have a prompt for this if you need help with it. But this is where you put in all of your expertise for sellers, buyers, and then area guides. Think of all the areas that you sell properties in, talk a little bit about that area, and then give them a good call to action so you can be their guide. You could also have it downloadable on your website for an actual guide if you want. So in a nutshell, products and categories. Categories are, where would people think of your website? The tabs across your website, like you've got your seller tab, you've got your buyer tab. Don't worry about your about me, because your about me shows up right here. Here's your about me. And your reviews, don't worry about those, because those references are right here. So I want to make sure I get to this. I know that we are coming to the end, and before I take more questions, I want to give this to you. So if you've been holding your breath like, I can't take notes fast enough, good news for you. I have a 4-page handout. These are the things you're going to do once. You're going to set up your profile. You're going to do your services and definitions. I have an entire clickable guide for that. You're going to do a Q&A, your questions and answers, and you're going to create your core categories and products. Here's the guide for that. All that I ask is that as you do these things and you have success, please let me know. My contact information is on this guide. Secondly, you showed up for this class. Since this is my proprietary, I can't say the word today, knowledge, and it's copyright protected, please don't share with anyone that didn't attend. This is my content. This is for you. You showed up, you get the good stuff. Then that activity that generates, look, I've got all this stuff. Oh, I forgot to mention reviews. Reviews, we mentioned them, but make sure that you reply to them. This is Google's most recent stats. You know how I told you it knows where your eyes are going? Check this out. Google showed that 88% of consumers read reviews and then chose their service provider within 24 hours. So if they're at a review, they're making a decision. Here's the stat that blew my mind. Of those 88% of people that read reviews, 94% of them chose to read what the owner said back to the reviewer as part of their decision. Now, what you say back is not SEO. It doesn't use those words. The consumer does, though. So if you're not replying to reviews, you should do that. That would be in the moment, and Google times you. It actually says how long it took you to reply to that review. So if you've got some oldies and they're moldy, go ahead and reply to them and get it done. But then from now on, you need to start replying. So replying reviews, uploading images. I have a template here with that banner. It is Google approved. Don't move the banner to the center. Don't move it diagonal. If it's going through the middle, it will downgrade your images. It should either be at the top or the bottom. If you put it on the sides, it gets cut off on mobile. So I'm trying to make this easy on you. Use my template. Add updates, clear your cards, and add your homes sold as they go. And then here's my instructions, how to find on Google Maps. Right here in the little corner is where your business is. So you can do all of this while we're going. So I'm going to share there it is. There is my downloadable guide for you. So if you grab your phone right now and you scan that QR code, it should take you to my guide. You can, since it's on your phone, obviously you want to get the full version of it. So I recommend that you forward it to your email. If you know how to do that, you scan, and at the bottom of it, once it opens up, there should be a little box with an arrow. Click on that, and then scroll across to your mail and email it to yourself. Kindly do not forward it to anyone that is not here in attendance. Thank you. Hey, am I making this easy or what? Yes? All right, so we're done 5 minutes early. Do you have questions? I had a
Yep.
lot here today. Woo!
All right, let's start. Let's see. Brian, go ahead. You go first. Go ahead.
I guess, are there any guidelines on how to reply to the consumers when they give you reviews?
Yes, a couple of things. Number one, be personal, so use their name in it. They are going to receive this in their inbox. Google's going to say a response from the owner. So you want to say Brian, and then give them gratitude for taking the time, or give them gratitude for hiring you as their real estate broker. Just be very gracious. You don't have to be lengthy. I do have a prompt for it in the tool that I'm going to show you in a couple of weeks. So if you want help with it, we can do that. But talk like you. Pretend they just said it to you out loud and just reply the way you would normally.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
I had a question about the name of their profile. So like we have a lot of agents here who do like McKenna Kim real estate agent at John L. Scott real estate. Or we've had issues with being McKenna Kim real estate at John L. Scott real estate. But I was wondering, what are the guidelines, like as far as Google goes, but the best way for people to use their name as a Google business profile? Because right now it's just very inconsistent within our office, what people are using. So I just want
So Google's profile naming, they clearly state it must be the name that your business is known by. So everyone in this room, because I don't think Lennox is there, everyone in this room, your business name is not John L. Scott. It's not John L. Scott Kent. Your name is your name. So Eric Scholl should be his entire Google business name. Below that category is real estate agent. It's already hard coded that you are a real estate agent. So you do not need to state that again.
Got it.
The only variation that I've seen that works right now, but I don't know how long it will work, is if Eric did Eric Scholl and then the bar, which tells Google this is another name, and then the word realtor. But I will preface with this. If you don't have that set up yet, don't do it.
Yeah.
It would be better to just name your name. Now, if somebody's going to make a change, changing your name is huge. And it could be the thing that gets you suspended if you move too fast. So if someone's going to change their name, that would be the only thing they change, and wait at least a week before doing anything else. But make sure that when you put in Eric Scholl on the left-hand side of Google, I keep finding his name as that. He hasn't put his middle initial in half the time. It needs to be consistent with the way your name shows up on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Trulia. And if you think of it, none of those say Eric Scholl, comma, real estate agent, comma, General Scott, comma, Kent, comma, Realtor. On
Right.
Zillow, your name is your name.
Okay. Okay.
It looks like we got some people saying the chat box, well, it's not open. I don't know, maybe.
That's on you. Is that on you? I didn't notice. I noticed there were no chats coming in, so I was wondering what's going on.
But there's a question through via text.
Okay.
Please ask about teams. Should each person have their own profile?
Okay, great question. 3 answers. It depends. It depends on how your team is structured. So here's structure number 1. Each person has a Google business profile. I'm going to use Yvonne Brink, for example. So let's say Yvonne Brink. What's that?
Okay. That's who asked the question.
Oh. Okay, good. I didn't even know that. Okay. So let's say, for example, Yvonne has a team and we want the most amount of opportunities to come in through Google. Most people will never search by a team name. I hope you can agree with me on that. They will search by the realtor's name. So Yvonne Brink would have a Google business page named Yvonne Brink. And then down in the description, she would say, we're team such and such at John L. Scott Kent, and we offer such and such services. So you can get your team name in by putting it into the bio or the description. And then the link to your website would be the same with everyone else. So each person on the team would have their own profile with their name, with the business, with the team name, and that's one way to do it. A second way to do it is to have just a team Google business profile. So now you're going to name it the actual team name. So let's call it the Brink team. And then in the business description, you're going to name off full names, everyone who's on that team. Because if someone is searching for, Wendy Lunt on that team, and you haven't put my name into the Google business description, I won't be found. I'll be a secret agent. Third way, you can have a Google business page for the team, and each team member can have their own page. Just keep in mind, however you set it up on Zillow, just like everybody gets to keep their own reviews, etc., but it is a culmination. That's the only thing you have to consider. So we can have a further.
Or not.
Wendy froze. Maybe she lost internet. Oh. Uh-oh.
But she's still on.
Well,
Discussion later if you want, but that's the 3 ways to managing the team page plus individual pages. And I think you
we just got
froze.
you back. We heard none of that. You froze and then it was gone.
You were frozen. I was frozen. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. It just said that my Wi-Fi is wobbly. So basically the 3 ways to do teams, only one team page, or everybody has their own referencing the team, or everyone has their own reference the team, plus you have a team page. It's just more to manage if you do it that way.
Yeah. Does that also mean that each one of those pages has to do those 3 things every week for each page?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep. Go to the gym every week.
Yeah.
Would that hurt the spam thing? As far as like reposting the same stuff
Oh, yeah.
on those pages?
Oh, I would think that each person would be doing their own content in their own voice.
I just think it would trigger like
Yeah, it
spam.
probably would.
If they're trying to like do stuff like for everybody on the team, like if you have a team of 12 or something.
Yeah, if each person, and I know this isn't for everyone, so we'll finish this conversation up, but if each person's going to have their own Google business profile, they're each responsible for putting their own content on. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Wendy. You're welcome.
We will get you next month to do the next part.
I'll be ready.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thank you, Wendy.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Okay, bye.